Hey guys, it's the Disco Spider and the Emoji Movie. Let's just get this over with. The Emoji Movie is about an emoji with multiple emotions that feel like he doesn't belong. This emoji now must go on a long and boring journey to find himself with the help of a few new friends. Okay, we know the main problem with this movie. It's something that everyone points out about this movie, and something we all knew way back when we first saw the trailer. This movie is way too generic. It's your typical find yourself movie, something that has been done way too many times that we know that the main character is just gonna find out that being yourself is the way to go. It also throws in the journey aspect where characters go on a whole journey with each other. But the catch is that these characters get along right away instead of, like Toy Story, where the characters kind of bicker throughout the whole way and don't get along until the very end when they finally connect. This movie does not have that. They just connect right away for some freaking reason. There's not much bickering besides maybe high five and jailbreak, but nothing really comes from that relationship. Which is dumb because it's pretty much just a lazier version than Toy Story. Instead of seeing these characters grow, they just start liking each other out of nowhere. Even if the plot has been done before, the execution is still awful. There is no stakes in this film. I felt nothing while watching it. The journey just felt so boring, and wouldn't restarting your phone do nothing to the emojis? Because wouldn't they still have their memories or something when they just reboot the phone back? Wouldn't it just be like a couple of hours of sleep? Or do they get replaced with new emojis and new memories and all that stuff? Because if that's the case, then why didn't they explain that to us? We don't know how the stupid freaking phone world works. The journey aspect is also very pointless too. They could have easily just walked to the Dropbox instead of going through these apps and wasting our time with the boring filler and advertisements. Nothing creative is in this movie. Even the places they go and the actual characters are taken from real apps and emojis that are already created before this movie. This movie is just one giant advertisement of a film. Every scene of this movie is just advertising some stupid freaking app with them stopping the film just to be like, hey, stupid audience, doesn't this app just look like the fucking tits, yo? And to add on that, nothing in this film is unironically funny. There are jokes and lines that are so freaking dumb that are kind of funny and just terribly hilarious to laugh at, but there's no actual clever jokes in this film. Then we have the animation. Everything looks so bland and generic. Starting with the emoji world, it looks like your average city and a boring looking workspace that they work at. Nothing interesting at all is in the emoji world. Then outside the phone, it's very plain, with everything looking gray. Then the other locations are just ripped off from other apps. I will say that it does get a little creative sometimes when they visit other apps like Spotify songs or like Ocean Waves. That was pretty creative, but then again, they do not need this scene anyways, and is only here to forcefully make Gene and Jailbreak to have some sort of connection, and to play really bad and outdated songs like the fucking Whip and Nene song. I thought we were over that song. I will say, however, the only good thing about this movie in general was that the character movement was good and smooth. But that's it. That's the only good thing I can say about this fucking movie. Then we have the characters. They suck. Each and every one of them. First we have Gene. He is very bland. Gene is like if you take every single male lead of any movie like this, or just in any animated film, and took out any charm these characters had. That's Gene. He is so boring and so uninteresting. I did not care about him, and I just didn't care if he died at all in this movie. Then we have High Five, who is so obnoxious. He's probably the worst character in this film. Every single time this prick opened his mouth, he said something so annoying. I just wanted this character dead. And then we have Jailbreak. She's meh. She's not so bad, but I really hate how they tried making her a freaking feminist. Yes, this kid's movie about emojis had a male-female lead be a feminist. Oh. She freaking made a comment that was on the lines of, leave it to the men to ruin everything, which is so fucking sexist, which really doesn't make her someone who wants equality, but just makes her some bitch who just hates men and think women are superior, which is something that feminists fight about from the opposite side of the spectrum. Completely hypocritical, but then again, that is a rant for another day. Then we have Gene's parents, who are probably the best characters in this film, except they have a very pointless and easily resolved subplot. In the middle of the movie, they randomly split up, then come back together like minutes later, without really talking that much about their whole splitting up. It's really dumb and pointless. but I did like how they got Steven Wright to be the Matt emoji dad. Also, something with Mel and Jean. Why do they have this malfunction? Do other emojis get it? If not, then why is it only the Matt emojis? And if so, why doesn't the mom have the malfunction? Does not make any sense and is not explained. Then we have the smile emoji, who is so obviously the villain. She's extremely bland and uninteresting. Then we have the relationship between Jean, Jailbreak, and High Five. They're so freaking forced. In fact, for some reason, Jean and High Five become best friends without, saying much to each other. High Five only tagged along for selfish needs, but in the middle of the film, something happened to High Five, and he's almost about to get deleted and die, which I was so thankful for, but Jean insists he must save him because they're friends now. Show, don't tell. Also, the relationship between Jean and Jailbreak is so freaking forced. It's like they had to make them fall in love or else Sony would cancel the whole entire project. I also want to mention that every single human in this film is the absolute worst people in existence. Please don't be like these kids and only care about your phone. There are better things to do than being on your phone out in public all day. Don't be like these annoying pricks. Don't rely on fucking emojis to get you laid or whatever. In fact, this whole fucking movie could have been resolved if the main human wasn't such a fucking idiot and went up and talked to this girl he's crushing on. You know conversations are an actual fucking thing, but I digress. Then lastly, I want to talk about something you probably wondered why I didn't talk about in this whole entire rant. And that is that the Emoji Movie is pretty much just a ripoff of other better movies. This movie is always compared to Wreck-It Ralph, Inside Out, and the Lego Movie. But those movies are nothing like this movie because they actually freaking tried and succeed to be good movies. The whole reason why Wreck-It Ralph is so much better is because they don't resort to being a cheap advertisement movie. They're not like, hey, we can go to the Super Mario World with Ralph, or we can get Ralph to hang out with Spyro and tag along with one of his stages. Although that would have been much easier for this film and could have been easily done, they actually crafted a well-written story with video game characters, and they don't rely on just cheap advertisements and references. And although these locations do resemble real video games like Candy Crush and any first-person shooter video game, they're more of an homage and doesn't take away from the fact that this is an original film. Then we have the Lego Movie that, yes, they are advertising Lego sets like Batman and Lego Ninjago, but they know this and take advantage of it, making so many jokes about the Lego sets and connecting things together so that it's fresh. For example, every time I watch the Lego Movie, I keep forgetting Batman is like an actual character and that they're trying to advertise his Lego sets, because he's his own character in this film and works so well in the story. Plus, he is a funny and great character. They take advantage of how ridiculous the idea is and just make a fun and hilarious satire. Then lastly, there's Inside Out. Why this movie succeeds is because the emotions and care the writers put into the script. Each place that joy and sadness visits actually correlates to Riley and her perspective of everything, building on how much Riley means to Joy. There are real stakes in this film, with someone actually dying. Spoiler alert, by the way. It's a beautiful film and well deserving to be called an Oscar winner. That and being made by Pixar. Compare these things to the Emoji Movie. Does this movie have any sort of creativity in here? Hell no. All it wants to be is some soulless advertisement and hopes to get kids in the theaters because, hey, there's emojis. Kids love emojis. This is why people look down upon animated films, and why sometimes I myself is embarrassed to love animation so much. There are studios that care about constructing a good story with good, lovable characters. But then there's movies and stupid studios like Sony who just want to make money and just copy and paste what studio is successful without realizing what makes a good movie. It's not the idea, it's the execution. You need better writers. Writers that will think outside the box and that will do more interesting and daring things. In a day and age where every animated film is just copying the Pixar formula, we need a studio that is not afraid to be creative. The Emoji Movie is the exact opposite of that, and why people are complaining that Hollywood is just so uncreative. Fuck the Emoji Movie. Do not watch this shit. Don't support Sony, and fuck Sony for making this film. Do not support Sony for making a cash grab, shitty movie. I hope they realize the error of their ways and try to find better writers out there. But then again, their next films are The Star and Hotel Transylvania 3. Both sounds like the worst thing ever. And if anyone's wondering, is this movie the worst movie ever? No, I can probably think of a lot of worse movies. Like, Norm of the North is way worse than the Emoji Movie. But this is probably the most annoying movie I've ever seen, and I do not want to see this movie ever again. It's still a piece of shit, and still one of the worst movies, but not the worst. But what are your thoughts on the Emoji Movie? Did you hate it, or did you hate it less? Leave in the comments, like if you enjoy this rant, and subscribe for more cartoon-related reviews. Anyways, I'm the Disco Spider, and I want to die.